And welcome back to Color Break, issue number 12. You guys know Color Break, your third favorite comic book podcast. I'm your host, Cody, and I'm your host tonight presenting the Color Breakies? The Color Breakies? We'll workshop
the awards.
Yeah.
You'll have the name down by year 2.
Yeah, year 2 will figure it out. But, this is the comic book award show as presented by this panel of lovely guests. We've got my mustachioed friend. We've got Christian.
Yeah, that's me. Comic Book Stash.
You guys know him. You love him.
The one. Yeah, that name that will always ruin my life because I can never shave now.
Right. That's like my favorite little bit. You can't shave. Anyways, we're also here making his first Color Break appearance. Host of Rocco Public Radio, we've got Rod, or ThatNerdyPapaBear. Very excited to have him on. Encyclopedic knowledge of comics.
Would not go there,
but just let me compliment you for a little bit.
This is our show, okay? We get to say whatever we want.
Because when I was coming up with this idea with Christian, right, we're like, dude, who reads more comic books than ThatNerdyPapaBear? No one. You'd be hard pressed to find someone.
I can't come back next year because I have a New Year's resolution to read less. So,
I mean, you'll still probably read more than the average comic reader, I'm sure.
Probably.
But yeah, so this is our. It's going to be our comic book award show. I've asked each guest. Well, I mean, Christian's not a guest. You guys know what I mean. Asked them to come up with 5 awards. Very loose terms. I didn't really put any no rules to it, just to have 5. And then we'll also go over our top 5 comics of the year. Everybody has a top 5 list for that as well. But before we begin, Christian, I heard a little rumor you got a little question to ask us. Why don't you go for
I
it?
wanted to ask, I bought my first Omni in the year 2022. By the way, these are the 2022 awards. We're not doing 2023 awards.
I got really worried I was in a room with psychics.
Well,
I thought
it's like how the Oscars, right? They call it the 2023 Oscars, but they're all the movies from the previous year. That's how they do it, right?
Exactly. We had to just put it out there so there's no confusion.
I got
so
you. I feel you. We'll fix it.
I bought 2 Omnis. Don't say we're fixing in post. I do post. Just say you'll fix it in post. And we're gonna keep all this conversation in so people know. I bought 2 Omnis this year, and I don't know if the third one is considered an Omni, but the third one's Strange Adventures by Tom King. If you want to consider that an Omni, go for it. I bought 2 Omnis, and I wanted to ask what your favorite Omni that you bought this year was. I can say mine. I don't really have a favorite because I love both of them, and I know that's cheating on my own question, but I guess my favorite is Ultimate Spider-Man 1, and then The Flash by Jeff Johns.
Both solid books.
Yeah, it's a nice pickup. I'll jump in before we throw it to Rod. I think my favorite that I got, most excited to read, I would probably have to say Superman, Tomasi and Gleason, right? So excited to have that one. That's a chonker. I mean, that guy's big. That's going to take me a while. But I plan on doing like a big Superman binge soon. Trying to collect, I've been asking around what do people recommend as his most like essential reads. Got them all lined up, plus that Omni. So I'm going to be diving into some Superman soon. Thinking of doing like a review project for it, but anyways. So yeah, that would probably be mine. Appreciate that.
So there was a couple reprints I was really excited about. The Miles Morales, both volumes, Ultimate Spider-Man. Marvel just finally was reprinting some books. DC's better at being evergreen. But also, November, finally, probably my most anticipated omnibus ever, Flash by Mark Waid. This book was a seminal piece of my childhood, and they had been rumoring it for years. They finally put out some paperbacks of the run maybe 5 years ago, and they at one point solicited the spin-off, Impulse, as an omnibus, and then canceled it like a month before it came out. So had been long teased, and to finally have it in big, bulky, chunky form is like my not even just favorite omnibus. This is like my favorite thing to happen. And my wife got pregnant with twins. So that just tells you how important this was to my 2022.
That is awesome. Oh,
Well,
congrats, by the way.
I will. Yeah, congratulations. You finally got your Omni.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
I'll say congrats for this. Anyways.
Oh yeah, that too.
All right, yeah, right on.
But
all right.
I like to say, hey, Flash is my favorite superhero, so I get you.
Yeah, it was between that one and I was gonna say Books of Doom too, because I think that's just like a cool idea that I hope Marvel does, just like a compilation of a villain's greatest hits, sort of.
I didn't grab that one because I had most of the issues, but that cover was sick, and that you're right. That's a genius idea for new fans to do the omnis that collect a variety of stories. They need to do more of those.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Like if you're a Fantastic Four collector, I mean that's got double dipping all over the place. But for someone that I don't think I'm gonna go for a full Fantastic Four like Lee run. I don't know. It's just like a lot of omnis, but yeah, nice to have Books of Doom. So.
I can think of tons of characters or villains they should do that with. Absolutely.
Right.
Definitely Dog Welder.
The first one or the second one?
All of those.
I was trying to think of the most like obscure. Some of the Spider-Man villains can get pretty obscure. Like,
listen, my favorite thing is like Dog Welder is not even a villain; he's a superhero. Let's not forget that.
Dude,
Section 8, you're calling them heroes pretty loosely at that point.
That's how it's described, okay?
That's fair.
Hey, do you guys want to just go for the award ceremony?
I got my awards, absolutely.
All right.
I think we should go for it. I'll insert some like cool graphic.
Oh yeah, the Breakie Awards. Presented
Color
by...
Breakies, that sounded good. Like you stumbled on it, but Color Breakies, go with it.
Oh, dude, Color Breakies.
You know what?
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna get someone to actually give me a narration right now. I'm gonna like get someone who does voiceover. I'm gonna get that done right now. You're not gonna hear it right now. The listeners are. So let's go with the intro.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, we welcome you to the Color Breakies.
Good.
Wow, thank you.
How long is it gonna be?
Thank
You
you.
didn't tell. Anyways, all right. Before we begin, guys, listen. I got to tell you something. I try to really catch up before the Color Breakies. All right, but these are some things that I will not be mentioning because I didn't catch up with them because I was so far behind. So these series are really good. You all know they're good. Radiant Black, Something is Killing Children, Department of Truth. I'm sure those series are doing just fine. I've been collecting them in single issues, but I'm not caught up, so I won't be mentioning them. But the Color Breakies.
Real quick, if you're doing a disclaimer, I have one as well.
Go for it. Absolutely.
If something ended before like March, there's a really good chance I forgot it as I went back. I went back trying to capture everything, but man, there was a lot of comics this year.
Hey, listen, now I want to make a disclaimer.
Go
so
for it.
Hold on, you guys can't have a disclaimer and then I don't. Let me think. Oh, I had one. I swear I had one. I did the opposite of Cody, and I decided not to catch up with my books because I didn't want any recency bias
Nice
to be in my mind.
All right. No, I like how we all took a different
Tact.
But listen, that's how I pictured
It's just
it.
called procrastinating.
That's how I pictured it. All right. So the Color Breakies for if they finish this year award, okay? So our nominees, we've got 8 Billion Genies. If that had finished this year, I'm sure it would have been on my top 5 list. Same thing for Superman Space Age, which I really that book's like blowing my mind right now, but we're only 2 issues in. And then Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise coming out of Marvel. I don't know if you guys were picking that up. The first 2 issues of that just like blew my mind. Like the art in that is so trippy and insane.
I actually think I've only read the
you...
first, but yeah, amazing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, dude, the second one, Trad Moore is just blowing my mind. I have no idea.
Okay, Cody, I'll buy it. Okay. you can stop now.
I don't know how much
Okay.
commentary we want to do between each other's things, but because you mentioned Space Age and I realized
Go for
I
it.
didn't include it anywhere in mine, easily, if that third issue hadn't been postponed like 6 months, that was my favorite book this year. Like, I begrudge it because of how much that last issue's been delayed, but
Right.
those first 2 issues are like top tier, all time Superman story. I'm in love with Space Age, so great pick there for you.
Yeah,
Runner up.
It was too expensive for me.
That's true. You know what? For dollar per page, I think it's actually cheaper than most DC books because those are thick books.
Right.
I only read cover prize, and that was too much.
I mean, yeah, so that series has been super great. And then, you know what? I wanted to pick one. So I got one for, Image, 8 Billion Genies, Superman Space Age, Doctor Strange, Fall Sunrise. And then I chose one for Boom. I'm really enjoying Damn Them All. So I know it, maybe it retreads some like Hellblazer stuff, but I haven't read Hellblazer. So Damn Them All is I'm loving it.
Is that a mini? I thought that was going to be an ongoing.
So when I was coming up with the list, it's like it's not a mini, but it's if there were more issues, maybe like 3 more, I probably would have slid it in.
There might be a similar award coming.
I gotcha, yeah. And the color Breakie for if they finish this year, it's got to go to Superman Space Age. I mean, Rod summed it all up. I mean, that series has just been fantastic. You
didn't mean to
hit the
steal your
nail on the
thunder.
head. It's honestly, it's a lot of money, but it's like the best bang for your buck. I mean, it's just so packed with content. It's got great value, I think. But
With the all red art, I would agree with you. I think Stash is wrong here. I think it's a crazy value.
yeah,
Okay, listen. It's not that it's bad. It's that I'm 24
This is fair.
that's fair.
and I can't just go out and like I just got a new car.
Mm.
You know, I can't go out of my way and just be spending that kind of money.
Guys, I have to go
The-
minivan shopping now. We had been saving up for me to go pickup truck,
Listen.
and I gotta get a minivan.
It is my dream, and I was once corrected by my girlfriend when I said it is my dream to be a filmmaker, and she said you have made films. It's your dream to be a father, and I said, oh yes, you are right. That's like the one thing I want to do.
Yeah,
So
but I wasn't planning
Go
on 3
minivan
car
shopping.
seats. There's literally nothing else that fits 3 car seats. Sorry, completely derailing.
you're
No,
not
I mean-
thinking big enough.
Listen. So that's the first award. So that's how it's gonna go. I'll give you a little example. Explain, why you gave it that award, whatever. Rod, I'm gonna throw it to you, dude. First
All right.
color Breakie award.
This is the color Breakie for the most absurd book to have made a grown man crawl like a baby, bald like a baby. And I have 2 runner-ups, 8 Billion Genies and Department of Truth, and the winner is, and I'm only doing the envelope rip joke once. Do a power
Oh, God.
bomb. So it's Daniel Warren Johnson, luchadors in a tournament to revive their one of the characters' dead mother. And spoiler alert, in the end, they literally wrestle
don't-
God.
No.
Okay,
that's-
okay, yeah.
That's a great, yeah.
'Cause
And that made me
here's the
cry
thing,
like a
I
baby.
haven't-
That should not have
I
been
haven't
a cry
read
like a
it.
baby moment.
I haven't read it, but I feel like as much as Wrestle God is like a big spoiler for someone who hasn't read it, I feel like I could still read it and enjoy it.
In context, it's
knowing
not
that.
really like it's not really a spoiler. But it
Oh,
is.
good.
If you know what I
No.
mean. Like
Listen, I am someone who like you can spoil a movie and like I'll still like watch it and be like, whoa.
no. All
What?
viewers, you can go into this knowing that, and it won't affect like the way the story plays out.
Oh, no,
You'll
forget
probably-
the viewers.
Honestly, if you start reading the
Listen.
series now, you'll probably forget in like 5 minutes because
Listen, I'm gonna say this.
It makes so many turns
It-
to get there.
As long it's like saying no offense. As long as you say spoiler alert, they know what they're in for.
right. No, I think that's a great award, dude. That series, I mean, that part blew my mind. It didn't make me cry, but there are other parts in that series that definitely had me tearing up, dude. That's a really emotional.
Well, if you really get into it, it's the moment right after that actually makes you bawl. But
Oh,
it's just
100%.
the fact
Absolutely.
that plays out right.
Yes.
It's in that issue is so.
Right.
I would not have guessed.
I got you. I feel you.
That's-
100%.
That's wild. I cannot wait to read it.
That's a great award. All right, Christian, Color Breakie #1. Lay it on me.
So I missed the part where like we had to have runner
You don't
ups.
have to.
No,
So don't
about
expect
half
one.
of mine have runners up. I was just a way I fit books I wanted to talk about, but otherwise didn't fit in. They got runner ups, so don't worry about it.
My first award is and mind you, no offense to anyone. This is all a matter of money. Okay. My award is a series I finally dropped.
I had that award
So,
at some point, but I had to nix it. It's a good award. Let's hear it, Christian.
The series I finally dropped is Ghost Rider. Mind you, I thought it was fun. I read issue #1, and I was like, "This is great." And then I bought issue all the way through 9, and then I said, "Wow, I never read anything after issue #1." So it gets my series I finally dropped because of money. But I will say, if at some point I will read all the ones I did buy, I could go back into it.
I can actually
But
take you a
I
step
am-
further on this, Christian, because I have kept up with it, and I finally, as of the last issue, am dropping it for quality. So you made the right call, in my opinion.
Listen, that I had to give that award to something.
So Christian, when I had that award, I had Spawn on it, like all the different Spawn books. I was months and months behind, and then I had a Amazing Spider-Man, and that's what I would give my I finally dropped it award. Hopped off right before the dark web stuff started.
You see,
know what I'm
I
saying?
will say and this is like it's my first ongoing Spider-Man. I am personally enjoying it, but I understand why people are not.
I need to find the strength
But
to
as-
drop it. I have not yet, but I need to.
It feels weird
As
not
someone
pulling
who
a
has-
Spider-Man book. I will say.
As someone who has never read Spider-Man before that, I'm enjoying it, you know? But like I can understand the criticism behind like why some people are deciding to drop it.
Yeah, for me, it's I mean, it's not. It didn't win the award. I got rid of that award, but I had Spider-Man. You know, I was going for the longest time. I read the whole Beyond saga, dude. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm fed up, Christian. I had to put my foot down, dude. All
Got a
right,
lot of bubble gum.
Listen, I get it.
all right. The next color breakie for best vampire comic series. We've got. For some reason, I was just all about vampires last year. We've got West of Sundown from Vault. We've got Little Monsters coming out of Image. Bloodstained Teeth coming out of Image. And finally, we've got DC versus Vampires. And the award goes to... I'm going to give it to Bloodstained Teeth. I know, me and Rod, we had a little talk about this. I reread issue #1, and then I caught up over this weekend. Dude, I love that series. I know it doesn't, I don't know if I would recommend it for everybody, actually.
Listen, I'm calling bullshit. This is recency bias, and I think you're wrong. And I have read none of these series.
Well, so, okay, to fill people in, the whole idea, not to get in the whole thing, but the idea behind Bloodstained Teeth, this vampire, he had previously turned other humans into vampires for money, and now the Vampire Council is making him go back and kill everybody he turned into a vampire. So every issue is him.
It's a great premise.
The premise.
Okay,
is
never
sick.
mind. This is great. I need to read it.
Yeah, and the
Ignore
art.
me calling bullshit.
The art is like it's totally out there. I haven't read, still to this day, I haven't read a comic book with that like kind of out there. Well, actually, I've read Department of Truth. Anyways,
This is
Listen,
out there in a
I'll say
different
this.
way, though. It is
Yeah.
vivid. It is
it's
vibrant.
hard to describe.
Yeah.
Right. It's like photorealistic.
Cody,
I don't know.
Cody, I've known you for a whole 8 months, and that compliment you just gave the art is pretty impressive. I've never heard you say anything like that.
Nice, dude. Hey, listen, I still got it in the old noodle. But
Okay,
yeah.
Love the choice. I am surprised didn't even make the nominees. Are you reading Philadelphia from Image?
Nah, so that's a series I didn't pick up as it was coming out, so I'm gonna go back and do like deluxe edition.
That would be a great one
but-
to go back and read. If I had to pick a best vampire, as much as I love Little Monsters, I'd probably go Philadelphia. So.
Yeah, it's really weird because like the all the vampire series I was reading last year were like they're all pretty good. I did drop West of Sundown, that got a second arc. I dropped that, but yeah, Little Monsters is going strong, and I thought DC versus Vampires, I thought it stuck the landing. Some of the I don't know tie-ins weren't weren't the best, but that's how it goes with those.
I don't think I ever sat back and thought about the fact that Image Comics has 3 vampire ongoings right now. That's kind of crazy.
A little weird, right?
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Oh, actually, so West of Sundown's out of Vault, but I know what you mean.
Oh no, I was Philadelphia, Little Monsters.
Philadelphia,
And then,
yep.
yeah, those were the 3 I was thinking.
100%.
I'm sorry, I was adding another thing to my list.
Nice.
Yes, surprise award.
Okay. But yeah, so anyways, that's my best vampire series that I was reading award.
Great choice, killer choice.
Rod, let's hear it.
All right, I had to go one award, pure X-Men. I know neither of you guys are into it, so I will go quick. But I'm calling this would be the best X-Men book of pretty much any other era, because we are in kind of a golden age where there is a ton of really great X-Men books. 2 made my top 5. This book probably would have been in it if these other 2 didn't exist. Nominees or runners-up, I had Sabretooth, had 2 separate miniseries, Sabretooth and the Exiles, amazing. And Exterminators, which is a great for non-X-Men readers. If you're watching this and you want to check out something X-Men related, go check out Exterminators. But the winner is Legion of X from Cy Spurrier. So it is basically the mutants made their secret or their new society on Krakoa, and at first Nightcrawler was like, "Hey, I'm going to start the church," and it didn't go well. Like he made it work, and it happened. But then he decided instead, like, "Oh, I'm going to make the police force." So Legion of X is half him forming the police force, and then half he's formed this partnership with the character Legion, who is Xavier's son, and there was the TV show about him a few years ago. He's like the world's greatest psychic ever, and he builds their base in his mind. So like they all basically hang out in his brain until they have to go solve crimes, and it is a trippy, insane, really fun book.
I did not know how much the color breakies would make me want to spend money.
No, I knew that going in. No, but listen, Rod, hearing you guys geek out about all these different X-Men books, I mean, it makes me want to jump in, but I'll have to.
They need
I'll
a
have to
clean
figure
jump
something.
on point. They tried a clean jump on point this last year, and I don't think it was that clean. So hopefully in the next year or so, they make a new clean jump on point for
Please,
the X-Men.
because me and Cody want that clean jump.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I know I could go, start with the Hickman stuff, and like that's the jump on point. But between then and now, I mean, that's a lot of stuff there. But
they have to thread a needle where they keep everything that everyone loves from since
Right.
Hickman came on, but still make it safe and easy to jump in.
Right.
They'll do it eventually. They'll figure out a way. Unless MCU synergy beats them to it. We'll see.
right. Nadia, I love that award. Nice. Christian, number 2, dude.
Okay, I just have to ask, guys, is it okay if I can curse, right?
It's your show,
Let
dude.
me ask, just
Yeah.
just asking, the producers.
Does the
My
studio
award is,
audience want us to swear? Yeah! There you go.
Okay, my award is called Coolest Moment in Comics That Made Me Say, "Okay, buddy, what the fuck? That was a bit too much."
Too much. Okay.
Award. And it's spoiler alert. Okay, the winner is Batman Fallen from Literal Space.
That was really cool.
It was sick.
Because like here's the thing. That was cool, but like okay.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Right.
Because like when I read it, I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?" And then after like I closed the book, I was like,
That's
Okay.
crazy.
I don't think there's any amount of training yourself to breathe that you'd be able to pull that off.
"There's no cape that can help you like enter the atmosphere."
I don't know. Did you?
But
You
know,
saw
I mean,
the variant cover Chip Zdarsky drew of them in the '90s capes, right? But other than that cape, probably not.
Listen, it was really cool, but I mean, and I still love that moment. But like, come on,
It's crazy. When I was reading that too, I was like, man, this is. I told my girlfriend actually. I gotta see if she remembers. She probably doesn't remember anything I tell her about comics. But I was like, Batman just fell from space, and she's like, okay. So maybe it wasn't that crazy to her, but
Well, and
crazy to me.
I know you said it. That was the last issue of the failsafe arc, right? Anyone that wants to go
Correct.
check it out.
right.
Which I will say, and I'm putting this out there, and people can correct me if they want. They can stop watching this show forever. I think Failsafe could become like a classic, arc. I thought it was perfect from beginning to end. Once a trade comes out of that, I thought it was perfect, and I think it's something anybody can just pick up.
I had critiques of it, but I think it'll absolutely be one of those. It'll be like Court of Owls, a modern classic for sure, where people reference it constantly.
Guys, Batman could definitely beat up Spider-Man. I mean, he fell from space.
Right. The power
Yeah.
scaling.
Don't feed them. Don't fuel them.
All right.
Okay, Cody, go for it.
This is the Color Breakie for mini series award. Mini series.
I know what you're giving this to. I know what you're giving
You
it
have
to.
no idea, dude. You have no clue. Okay, ready? So, our nominees. We've got The Closet out of Image. Radio Spaceman out of, I think it was Dark Horse. A little Mike, I never know how to say the last name. Mignola, yes, of course. Little 2-issue miniseries there. Hulk Grand Design coming out of Marvel, so we got 2 issues there. And then we've got Ghost Cage coming out of Image, and the winner goes to Ghost Cage for mini series.
Oh wow, surprise! I thought you were gonna say The Closet. You talked about that like every day.
Yeah, so this is the
Christian and I
part
both
where
gasped at the same moment.
right. So like I like The Closet a lot. I don't know, the ending it kind of just. But I guess that's kind of like the whole point was that.
I'm with you though. The ending of Closet sapped my enjoyment quite a bit.
Yeah.
It almost felt like a non-ending.
Right. But dude, Ghost Cage was so sick. Coming out of Image, I think it was Nick Dragotta. Did he write and draw, or just I can't remember. But dude,
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know.
Dude, Ghost Cage is so sick. So it's almost, I mean, it's pretty similar to like a manga type of thing. Very similar to themes of Akira, cyberpunk, huge corporations. But dude, the art in that was so fantastic. It's all monocolor with just black and white, right?
Monochromatic.
So yeah, Ghost Cage for the mini series. Definitely recommend that.
Interesting. Great choice.
I was gonna do Hulk Grand Design, but I can't really remember. That was like earlier in the year.
Yes.
All the Grand Design books are great, but I think Ghost Cage was the right call if
Nice.
it was mine.
I didn't even read it, but it sounds dope.
Rod, let's hear it.
All right, so mine takes a little preamble. But outside of comics, one of my favorite things is epic fantasy. And one of the most annoying things about epic fantasy is their endings suck a lot. Like, probably the best example is Game of Thrones. Show was amazing, and then that last season just fell right off. So, this is the best epic fantasy that actually had a satisfying conclusion. It is Once in Future by Kieran Gillen and Dan Mora. Great series. It's kind of the myth becomes reality if you believe it trope, but about halfway so it's King Arthur, like the King Arthurian legend becomes the reality of Britain, but about halfway through you get a second King Arthur because it's 2 different versions of the legend, and by the end you've got multiple King Arthurs running around and they're fighting over who's the real King Arthur. It's amazing. Great series. Supposedly he might be following it up in a couple years. He sent a cryptic tweet and there's a note at the end of the book. But if they never follow up on it, it had a perfect ending. It was great. Did either of you happen to read it? I know it's a Boom comic, so it's a little obscure.
Yeah, I got the deluxe edition, which beautiful. Just
Boom does good hardcovers.
Yeah, for sure. So just flipping through it, I mean, seeing that Dan Moore art, I'm excited to crack into that one. I've heard great things about Once in Future, so look forward to reading that.
Okay. I want to say for my next 2 awards, since I did add one out of nowhere, I'm gonna do 2 separate awards, but it's just like rapid fire. So like I don't know how to fit the graphics in there that fast. My next award is best concept, and the award goes to Survival Street. I thought it was fantastic. I love that book. It's not enough to like make it into my top 5, but I do think that it's a book that if they put out a trade, I really hope people go out and pick it because it's such a fun
Not to
book.
humble brag, but that's like the one creator who follows me is Jim Festante, one of the two writers, and I got to break the news that there's probably a sequel coming to that. He like commented on a video review I did, and I asked him, "Is there a sequel?" And he's like, "Stay tuned, wink emoji."
Nice.
So pretty sure that means we are getting a Survival Street 2.
That. Hey, breaking news! You heard it here first.
Well,
No,
second, but
you guys were hyping up this series. I got to get on it as soon as there's a trade. I'll be getting.
It's so fun. It's honestly just a fun, gory, funny.
Couldn't tell you
book.
off the top of my head when it comes out, but the trade is solicited. I saw it pop up at one point, so it's out there. It exists.
Good.
That's great.
So, and I'll throw out my second award, which is a book I finally read, and it's The Walking Dead Deluxe, which took me about a whole year to read. I read 24 issues in like the span of a week. Yeah, fantastic. I get why people told me to read it, even though the show is like my favorite show of all time. Yeah, pick up The Walking Dead.
It's a good one to take your time with. You made the right call. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, well, I waited till issue number 50 came out.
That's awesome, dude.
But I will say, people, some people shit on Deluxe because it's not the original and it's colored. If you're a new reader and you just want to pick up The Walking Dead, ignore what people say, and you get to collect the single issues.
There was times back in the day reading it, I wished it was in color. We haven't talked about it. I'm much older than these guys, so I'm the ancient one who did read Walking Dead when it came out. But yeah, color is great. You can actually see the blood. I'm jealous. I wish I could have experienced it in color.
Yeah. That's the thing, and I will say this has nothing to do with The Walking Dead, but it's about a Kirkman book. I hated the Marvel Zombies episode of What If because it had no blood. And how are you going to get a Kirkman book about zombies and have no blood in it? And I rest my case. And if the series that they're putting out, if the series that you guys are putting out about Marvel Zombies doesn't have any blood in it, I will not be tuning in. I will be tuning in because I have to review it for my TikTok, but I will not be enjoying it.
You'll watch it in protest.
Yeah. Arms crossed, like all the dude bros when they watch She-Hulk. All right.
Listen,
I love it though, Christian.
That's it.
Spoiler, before I made all my words comic related, I was going to give an award to She-Hulk. I love She-Hulk. I have to fit that in here while we're talking.
I love She-Hulk.
Oh,
too.
it's good show. Great. It's fantastic. Me and Cody love it.
I like the ongoing series is good too.
I know. I feel bad. I couldn't fit it in anywhere, but I vouch for She-Hulk also. Great series.
Yeah. All right. This one, and listen, I gotta explain this one a little bit. I don't want it to come off mean-spirited, right? That's not my intention with this award, but we've got the hit or miss color Breakie award. Okay, this goes to the comic book creator who, they had a couple misses throughout the year. Maybe it was one, maybe it was a lot, but they put out that one book that just hit, right? That just hit, and I see Rod laughing. Like Rod might know where this is. He might think he knows where this is going.
I actually have multiple options in my head, so I wish I'd come up with this award.
Yeah, so I don't know. It really just underscored to me this idea that because it's something that I hadn't experienced really. I mean, like if I'm looking at different comic book creators that I've been following, pretty much liked almost everything that the ones that come to mind have written or had a hand in. But anyway, so the nominee, right? So we have Tom King. He wrote Batman Killing Time, which I wasn't a big fan of. I didn't even finish it. I was just the time jumping, right? I know that's a Tom King hallmark, but man, I tell you. But then he wrote Batman Killing Time, right? Which I wasn't so hot on. Gotham Year One. Gotham Year One's blowing my mind. Love Everlasting coming out of Image. Blowing my mind. Human Target, blowing my mind. The other nominees, we got Donnie Cates for Hulk. Not the biggest fan of Hulk. I ended up dropping it. It was fun, right? I like the Ryan Otley art. It's a lot of fun. But it just wasn't really doing anything for me. But he also wrote Vanish. And Vanish, I think it's pretty good. I think Vanish is starting off on a great foot. I can't wait to see what happens. We also have Joshua Williamson. So I have here in my notes, right? He wrote all that other stuff, but then he wrote Rogues. And so the winner of the hit or miss award goes to Joshua Williamson. I wasn't a fan of his Batman stuff. His Dark Crisis, I mean, it was my first Crisis event. That's cool, and it's all right. But Rogues was so good that you got to follow Joshua Williamson into his next project, right? I know he's got Dark Ride coming out of Image, but I think it's ending soon, right?
Is it ending? Is it a mini? It's only like 2 issues in. I'm enjoying Dark Ride.
I thought I heard someone say that it's got like, it's ending soon, but if it's not, I mean, that's great because I hear that series is doing super well. But yeah, so this whole idea behind this award, it just really underscores to me that if you follow the writers, right, sometimes they don't hit. They don't hit. But when they hit, they hit.
I gotta tell you, that's my favorite color Breakie yet. I love that award. I'm totally going to steal it every year.
And I hope it's not mean-spirited because, hats off
I don't think it is
because I mean, he's writing comic books. It's pretty cool, but
well, like I'm thinking there are writers that I would straight up say never hit. So I think it's a compliment to say, hey, this creator has hits.
Yeah, listen, all of those writers are doing way better than me in every sense of the word. So
I mean, look at me. I got
it's not an insult.
So I'm gonna have to change my order because I feel like my next award kind of it needs to be shuffled. So this is the best DC Black Label series that's about an aging DC villain trying to pull one last job in an alternate future. And oddly, insanely, this is a tie. So we got Catwoman Lonely City by Cliff Chiang and Rogues by Joshua Williamson. And is that Harmonico that does the art? I think it's...
Yeah, it's a one-namer. So there's a couple of...
So these two series came out simultaneously, although Catwoman ended up delayed more than Rogues was. But they started at about the same time and both follow this premise of like, oh, it's 30 years in the future and, they got creaky backs and but they got to pull one last gig. And yet they complement each other perfectly. They're tonally so different and have totally different themes and were two of my absolute favorite books this year. And I couldn't believe how similar the premise was on like that surface level. So Rogues and Catwoman Lonely City. And I'm so on board with what Cody said because it is probably the only Joshua Williamson written thing I've ever truly loved. Like, I despise so much of what that man writes, but now I will never talk pure shit about him again because Rogues is a masterpiece.
Listen, Rod, I gotta tell you, I love that award. I totally agree. So at one point, at several iterations back, when I was creating my list, I had a best heist award to give, and Catwoman Lonely City and Rogues was on it. Also, I had Dark Spaces Wildfire, which came out of IDW.
That was a great book. I actually forgot. I probably would have found a way to have it as a runner-up somewhere. That was a great
you probably
name.
could have reworded that title to include and just have it like a three-way tie or something. But yeah, I think I had another, like, for some reason I had 4 heist comics last year. I can't remember what the 4th one was, but yeah, so I ended up getting rid of that award, but I love that. That's great. Glad I got rid of it actually, because I would have, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about us not telling each other. Right?
I know.
We got some overlap.
Oh yeah, that's true. We should tell listeners and viewers this is all a surprise, right? So it's a lot of fun. Christian.
Yeah, me and Cody don't talk.
Talk to this guy. Only time I talk to this guy is when I record it and put it on the internet.
That bickering they did at the beginning, that's what they do all the time when the record's not happening.
Right. Christian, lay it on me, dude.
My next award is and I'm not going to talk too much about this one because it's been talked about too much. The next award is the best comic book series I bought but I never read award. And the winner is Do a Powerbomb. Come on. It looks
friend, you have
looks fucking
homework
great
before you and I have our next conversation, and that is to read Do a Powerbomb.
Dude.
I will never talk
Christian,
to you again.
You know what though? I am so envious of you. I'm so jealous because you get to read it for the first time, dude.
And you get to read it as a binge. Like, I think about how much more insane it would have been to have had it all in one stack, and so you're a lucky man, actually.
100% agreed.
Listen, sometimes the not binging it is good. Like, and not to spoil anything, but well, yeah, no, I can spoil this. The Walking Dead, the show, right? I watched it when it was coming out with my mom. Every week we would tune in The Walking Dead, right? And I got to experience what it was like to not know who Negan killed, right? And wait those 3 months or however long it took to know who it was. And then my girlfriend binged the show on Netflix. It still hurt,
same,
you
though.
know? But it was immediate, you know? It was like, oh, you want to know? Here you go. So sometimes reading those books in like a trade is not the same as, like, for example, Nice House on the Lake. Well, you do forget some things. I kind of enjoyed waiting.
I will say, and then we can move on, I'm sorry, but because Cody referenced at the beginning how many comics I read, a big part of that is that water cooler talk. There is a window between issues that you can engage in, like, the community that you'll never be able to engage in that way again. Like, yes, the book will always exist, and trades and omnis are perfect for that, but there is, like, a sense of community around that 3-week, 4-week period between two issues where some crazy
100%.
cliffhangers out there. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to the binge.
That's like,
I have a friend at work. His name is Ivan. Oh, Euro's Gift. I'll put his name somewhere here. TikToker, good guy. You know, I helped him get into comic books. So we read some of the same books. That being Batman, and Nice House on the Lake mainly. And every time a new issue comes out, we go. First of all, we go to comic book shopping together.
Sweet.
So it's not like a surprise what we got. But we go to work the next day and it's like, it's reading. What does it think? So that community aspect of it is really great, and that's what I love, especially with having crossover comics. Where people are like, "Guys, did you read the new?" It's just a fun time.
That's part of my goals this year is to only be like a couple, like at maximum like 2 weeks behind. We'll see how that's going. It's already off to a bad start this year, but all right.
This is the final round, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, this is
All
the
right.
final round. We drew it out way too long, but
great.
I love it.
So, I had a hard time coming up with who I thought was the creator of the year. And I settled on Zdarsky as creator of the year because I'm gonna read you a list of these books. And totally, if you guys have other ideas, dude, lay them on me. I just couldn't think of anything that's written more like high quality stuff, in my opinion. So we got Zdarsky. Of course, we mentioned earlier his run on Batman, currently ongoing. Failsafe arc was super great. Excited to see what comes next. We got Batman the Knight, which is, Batman origin story. Maybe he retreaded some things, but I thought
he pulled off a unique Batman origin story in 2022. Did not think that was possible.
Right. As it was coming out, like everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know, it's going down kind of the similar." But then I thought it was kind of genius the way every issue he was, with a different mentor, and each one's its own self-contained story almost with that. Anyways, he's also on Daredevil, which is still going strong. He's killing it on Daredevil. I'm loving that. Even though I dropped all Marvel books, but that's a story for another time.
You have 0 Marvel now?
I got 0 Marvel.
I had no idea. Wow. Okay.
I wanted to drop the bomb again. And he wrote New Burn, great detective noir out of Image, and he's also public domain. Dude, this guy is having like an all-star year, and it's wild. I couldn't come up with another creator that has, that many hits.
He's doing too
Didn't
much.
Even name Stillwater. He had another indie banger.
So Stillwater, same thing as like Philadelphia, and like that Texas Blood. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Hey, Daniel Warren Johnson. Are we forgetting the? We had
Jurassic
League. He had do a powerbomb, and then he did Jurassic League. You
Yeah.
need more than that.
So that was Daniel Warren Johnson was first to come to my mind, but Cody probably nailed it, at least for prestige. Like, it needs to be, it can't be understated. He is the first person in the history of both characters to ever write Batman and Daredevil at the same time. Like, the level of prestige there is in them handing him those two ongoings at the same time is like unthinkable. And the fact that both are bangers is huge.
Yeah.
And he's still got that Image, like, caliber, like 3 ongoings over there. Sorry.
It's crazy. No, it's,
Before starting comic books and reading comic books, I don't know why I knew his name, and that's the best compliment I can give him.
So
Because it's not a name you
I
just
don't know how
you know?
high. Right here, I've got a book called Big Hard Sex Criminals. It's the book is actually Sex Criminals, but he was an artist when I first knew about him. I didn't know the guy could write at all. He wrote Sex Criminals for Image, and then the collected editions are called that. And it always cracks my wife up when she sees them on the shelf. But
I gotta pick those up.
great book. He, like, halfway through, they kind of admitted they plotted it together, and then he drew, so they kind of moved the way it was labeled. And then he wrote Howard the Duck, of all things. And then I became a lapsed fan. There was about a 2-year window where I didn't read comics. And so suddenly I come back and he's taken over Daredevil, and he's like this serious comic book writer. I was like, there's no way. That dude can't write serious. Like, he's the guy that drew Sex Criminals. And then boom, they've been fantastic. So
it's just so crazy.
Love his
we
work.
don't have to keep talking about Zdarsky. I just love the guy, right? But just the
I
fact that
appreciate
he
it because I'll be honest, neither of his books made my top 5. They're probably both in my top. Like, there's multiple of his in my top 10 probably. Right. So having a chance to talk about how amazing he is probably a good idea. Yeah, I think giving him Writer of the Year is totally fair. I would also I would probably throw in the ring Kieran Gillen, because he pulled off the first Marvel event I think has been worth really anything since Secret Wars. I really enjoyed Judgment Day.
Right.
And he wrote, I've never seen a checklist like that. There was, I think, 31 books on the checklist, and he wrote 19 of them. Like, he wrote so many of the tie-ins to that event, while also landing Once and Future, bringing that home. And he had at least one mini in the year. So I think you got to throw his hat in the ring if you're talking overall writer. But Chip Zdarsky probably takes it. I think that was a good call.
It's crazy. I mean, just all the different hats he had to put on, and he's like doing detective stuff. He's doing, mystical, whatever's going on in Daredevil stuff. I don't know. It's crazy. But
hey, Chip, look at me. Congratulations, buddy. You got it.
Yeah, he's been on a couple comedy podcasts I listen to. I think he kind of does watch like stuff that is about him. So put his hashtag in here, and he might stumble on it someday.
Hey, Chip.
Subscribe.
Nah, you don't have to. You really don't have to.
I don't want to step on anything, but it's okay.
No, go for it.
My last one is kind of a repeat, but it's the best book that started too late to get on my list, but has insane potential. I got 2 runners up. I got Fantastic Four and the Miles Morales new ongoing by Cody Ziegler. Was such a cool first issue, but I'm going to give it to Vanish. We've already talked about it. It's basically, and I don't want Cody to be offended by this, it is Spawn if McFarlane could write. Like, I
love that.
It's so good. And then the art is obviously just next level because it's Ryan Stegman, and they collaborated 100%. For years, so they get each other. And it also is like a Harry Potter pastiche in a way. So it brings in like so much of my 90s nostalgia, because I'm not a Harry Potter guy now, but obviously as a kid I was. And so it fits, even though Spawn and Harry Potter don't have anything to do together. Meshing those two, just it hits.
The world building in Vanish, especially. I mean, just the world building, right? In the first couple of issues, just, I don't know, it's something to be admired. The way
out of this world, it's out of this world. Donny Cates is my favorite writer. I'm not ashamed to say it, or I don't know why I would be ashamed. He's a great
People
writer.
are too harsh on him because of some of his personal life stuff. But he's a great writer.
Yeah, no, I mean, as soon as Vanish came out, I was like, I need #1, and did not disappoint.
Now everybody's getting the Daniel Warren
I have it on
Johnson covers, though, right? Because those covers slay the A cover. The B covers are fantastic.
So okay, I'll say this: I am an A cover
you gotta go B
guy.
on that one.
Okay. I'll look him up.
My shop doesn't get like very many variants at all. It's kind of a small outfit there.
That's fair.
Yeah.
One thing that, like, to this day, and actually I can show you, I won't show the text on screen, but I talked to Brian, the guy that works at my LCS, today, because since issue number 3, since I bought issue number 3 of Nice House on the Lake, I have cover B. It's the only one that I don't have a cover A for, and it's a beautiful cover, but I cannot stand looking at my collection and seeing that it doesn't match the rest. literally today he messaged me saying, "Hey, you need to cover B, right?" And I was like,
I needed to
Oh.
come.
I'm with you. I need
That's the
them
one I
all to
have.
match. Like if I get a cover A, I will get A for the whole series. But luckily, I from the beginning went with the Daniel Warren Johnson covers, so I'm gonna stick with them.
you know what? I'll look him up at some point, maybe right now, without telling you guys. But I guess
I think it is you, my friend.
my turn. Okay, so my last award, and it's not a really cool one, but I thought it was kind of cool. The coolest suit in comic books award for this year at least. Just for this year, it's like a one issue kind of thing, so don't want to get excited. I'm not gonna be like Spider-Man. No. The well, yeah, the award goes to Iron Man's
Tough
celestial
one to beat.
armor, and God, I mean you telling me that guy got a celestial? It just made it into a suit that lasted about what 5 seconds. But just those 5 seconds, I was like, yes.
Good choice.
I don't know how this hasn't happened before, but it happened, and I loved it.
That's a great award.
I don't know. It was such a cool idea.
Yeah. As the X-Men guy, I'm just picturing some of the great Hellfire Gala costumes, and I don't know that wins for me.
Oh,
but
no.
It was awesome.
I'm talking like just like superhero suit, because no one can compete against. I mean, Doom and Hellfire.
Yeah,
Was
Doom
it
had
Doom
the
and
sick
Hellfire? God, I mean, all the Hellfire outfits were great. I didn't love the Spider-Man one
I
that
don't know
much,
if I
but
remember what this year's Spider-Man was. I'll just look it up when we're done.
it was okay. Yeah, but hey, Iron Man being a
Sick.
celestial,
Love it.
fantastic. And yeah, that's all
Nice.
my awards.
I think that's all our awards. So those are the color breakies. Thank you guys for listening to that part. Now we're gonna do our
Well,
top 5 list.
yeah. How do you want to tackle this? Do you want to go one by one, or should we just
I
say
think
all
one
5?
by one works. I don't know if we have the time to really vamp about a lot of them, though.
Have
Unfortunately,
I talked too much? Have I dragged the show out?
that's how it goes
Oh
every
no,
time.
no,
But
buddy, there are no rules in this show except for be a nice person.
those awards were great, though. I'm glad we had all that. I'm just gonna go for my number 5. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, and this one, it might blow some people's minds. Dude, people probably listening, they're like, dude, what? Listen, I don't know if I had as much fun reading comics this year than I did reading Batman vs Superman, except for, and it's an asterisk, because I know Rod is going to have Flash on his list. But I had so much fun reading these 2 series, Flash, Batman vs Superman, World's Finest. Couldn't decide which one. I decided to go Batman and Superman, World's Finest. Last time I'm going to say it.
Can I blow your mind right now?
Go for it.
I not only have it on my list, it is my number 5 as well. We have perfect synergy right now.
I love that, dude. I love that. No, so like I don't know, like
God, I'd love to jump in.
It seems
with
like
that,
like the stakes are super low, and it's just a lot of fun though, right? It's classic, classic Batman, classic Superman. I love Dick Grayson as Robin. Just a lot of fun. I don't know. What else is there to say, Rod?
I will say, for someone who has not read it,
it's
the
Dan Mora
art
again,
is fantastic.
Yeah. We've talked about him earlier, but
it's out of this world. Did we read something with Dan Mora?
Name dropped a couple books by his art, but
I think
Christian's talking about
do the art
when we
for
read
anything we
Klaus
read
earlier this year.
yes,
Or early last year.
Oh yeah, love him. Yeah, yeah.
I think
World's
Klaus
Finest,
is kind
great
of where
art.
you got to start.
Hey Dan Mora, if you want to be on this,
Klaus was very early. Dan Mora.
Hey Dan Mora, you want to be on this show?
Hey,
you can always come.
People on Twitter. Listen, one day. That's all I'm gonna say.
Since I'll go next, just because since we have the same 5, and I don't have much to add except, while I don't even know he'd be in my top 3 writers all time, it is amazing to think that Mark Waid has written one of my favorite books every decade of the last 5 decades now.
That's
because
awesome.
Flash was in the 80s and 90s. We had his Fantastic Four run in the 2000s. Right. We had Daredevil last decade, and now this is a complete banger. That is 5 decades he has carried my life through.
That's sick. No, that's a great book. Everybody should be picking that one.
Okay,
up.
I guess it's. I'll try to pick it up if they collect it. Honestly,
Yeah.
because
More art looks amazing
at this
oversized.
point,
If
it's
you
how
can
many
wait for
issues?
them to do a deluxe edition or an Omni, that's the route to go.
I might. I just might. Honestly, yeah. My number 5 is Thor by Donny Cates. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it didn't start in 2022, but I don't think it did. It's just such a fun book. I know around if you're thinking volumes for my trade paperback readers at home, volume number 3 was super slow, but I mean the first volume is just so fun. It's just a fun time. You jump and it's the Dark Winter or the Black Winter, whatever it's called. Which the fact that like there's a Justice League Easter egg in the first volume of that series, so fun. Then we get a Donald
The
Blake.
Donald Blake arc is mind blowing.
It is mind blowing.
Then we go to number 3, whatever. Some Avengers show up. Oh, great. Number 4. And I'm not gonna spoil anything here because I do want people to jump into it and read it and see what happens. But number 4, the villain of volume 4 of Donny Cates' Thor run is so fun.
I read an issue, so I was sitting
I'm not
here
gonna spoil it.
doing the mental math, but
yeah,
good stuff.
Well, I'm saying it in volumes right now in case someone.
No, I think
new
that's
wants
totally
to
fair.
But yeah,
I know we're trying to go quick.
And then
go for it.
And then it crossed over with Hulk.
That's where I was going to jump in. Last year, with the Blake arc and the start of the other arc you were talking about, it probably was my top 3. It was definitely in my top 5. It has fallen off this year, mostly because I didn't dig the Hulk crossover, and then he left. Like, I know he's theoretically coming back, but the Torin Grunbark issues so far have done like absolutely nothing for me. Like, it's on my list of New Year's resolution drops. I'm dropping it until Donnie comes back. So it fell off my list, but I think it is an amazing choice to be on your list.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? And I will say this without talking too much about it. Thor is never a character I have remotely cared about. And one day I just walked in to my comic book store when I was first starting to read like ongoing. It's actually the first ongoing series I ever picked up. I said like, hey, good writer, Marvel, and they were like, well, Thor by Donny Cates only has like 11 issues, and in my brain I was like, oh, 11 issues, I can buy all of those. And then like at some point I bought all the 11 issues, and they're like, oh, and here's issue 12, and I was like, whoa, you mean to tell me this is still going?
That wasn't the deal.
And they're like, yes, that's how that's how comic books work. They come out every month.
Here you go.
And I'm sticking to it because it's such a fun series, and maybe it has a special place in my heart because it's the first run I ever picked up, or because it's Donny Cates. But it's my rules.
You were very lucky. That was a great choice for your LCS to throw out there. Like you got a good person.
All right, hey, listen, I'll go for my number 4.
Love Brian.
I love that pick though, Christian. I did drop it though, right after the Hulk stuff, but it was great. It was great stuff up until then, in my opinion. But number 4, it's Lonely at the Center of the Earth. And now I gotta tell you guys, listen, this came out of Image. It's I can't even describe what it is. So it's an autobiographical look. This 20-something-year-old cartoonist. You might know her work. I wish I could remember her name. I'm an idiot. I didn't write it down. But she did the art for Rain. And so this is a little slice of life type of thing. 6 months out of her life during, coronavirus pandemic. She's home alone, lonely. It's kind of dark. It's got themes of suicidal thoughts and depression and stuff like that. So it's not recommended for everybody. But dude, it absolutely blew my mind. I've never seen page composition like this. I've never seen paneling like this. I mean, just her skills as a cartoonist. She's so strong. It's so hard to describe though, because in the book, I mean, she's just living her life, right? But it really just, I haven't even begun to process it. I only finished reading it last night. It's a super late addition to the list, right? But I can't stop thinking about it, I guess, right? And that's how you know a book is is good is when you can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
So It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth, and I'm gonna pull up the while Rod goes for his number 4, I'm gonna pull up the cartoonist because I feel real bad.
It's a super solid choice, though. That is an amazing. So I just want to caveat because stuff like that's not on my list. I gave myself a little bit of a rule of I only did ongoing comics because I feel like there's a unique difficulty to writing a compelling ongoing that you can keep your story going, but also just there are so many good like single graphic novels and miniseries out there. I wouldn't have been able to make a list, so I fit as many as I could into my awards, and then I stuck my top 5 as only ongoings. And I am shocked to say this is the only non-Marvel or DC book on here is my number 4. And I was really shocked when I started like whittling my list down, but this ended up my top indie book. But it's That Texas Blood by Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. Either of you happen to read this?
No, that's in like that same group, man.
No.
That's like the ones I gotta pick up at some point. Okay,
so they describe it as a neo-crime western, but to me it really reminds me of movies like No Country for Old Men, or like those like super
nice,
almost like modern western movies. So it's a sheriff in a western town in like his 80s. He's close to retirement. And he's just completely disillusioned because everyone in this town believes the town is like cursed and there's all these evil, like malevolent forces forcing all of these crimes he's had to deal with his whole life. So the first arc is about a guy in town that goes on a killing spree and supposedly is like, and he gets caught in the end. And then each subsequent arc is like a different chunk of this guy's past. So you go back to the sheriff as like a super young cop, and he saves a girl from a cult. And then the second arc is him a little bit older when he went from deputy to sheriff. And like each time it's something that could be like supernatural, or it could just be these people are fucked up. And walks that line where you don't know, like, if they are going to end up finally actually going supernatural, or if it really is going to stay just all these really messed up coincidences have just beat this guy down throughout his life.
That's
awesome. It is so good.
That's cool.
And that Jacob Phillips is the son of the guy that's always working with Brubaker. Why can't I think of his first name? The more famous Phillips.
I can't.
So. Yeah, so it's really cool because he got his start doing colors for his dad, and then now he's doing this, and he's doing the art on Newburn with Chip Zdarsky, which is another almost made my top 5, and they're completely different art styles, and they are both amazing.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I actually might read it.
It's in trades, and I'm really hoping they do the deluxe hardcover at some point. But there's like 3 trades out right now.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely look it up. My number 4, and I'm not gonna talk much about my list because I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. 8 Billion Genies.
Love it.
Fun read. That's all I'll say.
Solid read.
I mean, everyone on Earth gets a genie with one wish. That's all I have to say. Number 4. It's just a great series. Charles Soule.
The thing about that series, right, that I love so much, and I find it ingenious, quite frankly, right? The way he can stretch out time from like 8 seconds, 8 minutes, like.
Oh, that was the genius framing device. Oh my god.
How is it still working though? And how do all these characters feel so unique and have their own motivations, right? I mean, that's just Charles Soule, man.
Go read it. That's all we need to say. Go read it.
I'm trying to think of another comic that started like the Something is Killing the Children effect, right? Where just it pops and it's the biggest like smash hit indie of the year and everybody's going nuts for it. And it forced Image, right, to not force them, but they decided to do a second printing after however long of saying they aren't going to do
they broke their COVID rule of no second printings for it. And now it's had like 4 printings of that first issue. It's insane how many runs they've done of it.
Didn't it get picked up by Amazon for a show like
it was like
it was really early.
Yeah, it was like issue 2, and they sold it to Amazon.
Yeah.
I was like, that's bananas. I mean, but no, that's a great
I hope
pick.
they go animated. I feel like the only way
Yeah.
it'll work is like with an Invincible style animated adaptation.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. That could not be live action.
Uh,
But yeah, that's my number 4.
all right,
Cody,
man.
go for your
So
number
real
3.
quick, it's Lonely at the Center of the Earth is cartoonist is Zoe Thorogood. Thorogood. So just want to give her a shout out there. My number 3 is, we mentioned it earlier, Catwoman, Lonely City, Cliff Chang.
Awesome choice.
Art, I think she freaking lettered that thing. She wrote it, drew it. This thing is beautiful. If you get a collected edition of Catwoman Lonely City, I mean, you're going to be eating so good. Catwoman, it made me fall in love with. I haven't read anything so far that made me fall in love with Catwoman the way this did. And just all the side characters are so great. Killer Croc, I mean, when she meets up with Poison Ivy, I thought that was great too. A lot of good, small, funny moments. But yeah, just overall, just such a great package. It really does think that the delays kind of took the wind out of the sails. I think it would have easily been it's unfortunate when that happens to a book, but yeah, Catwoman Lonely City, my number 3.
The hardcover finally came out, and it's the black label. I love that they do this. It's the extra large from
Right.
the get go. And if you can get it before they sell it out, the direct market cover is the better cover. It's a gorgeous cover. So go get it before they sell out of that cover.
Yeah, that's one I have to. I mean, so you talked about earlier, Rod. All the Black Label books, not all of them. Some of them were kind of misses, but Black Label had a good year last year.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you're right that is one that I would upgrade. Same thing with Rogues. I would love the hardcover collected edition of those.
I don't have them here, and I had to wear my wired headset, but I was going to hold them up when I did that one because, yeah, I'm really excited to have gotten both of those in hardcover.
Nice. Yeah. So that's my number 3.
That's good.
Okay, so I know we're
number 3.
hurrying. I'm sorry I've talked so
No
much,
worries.
but
We got time. We got a little buffer, so we're good.
It's
my
it's okay.
top 3 is the same as it was mid-year. So anyone that knows me isn't going to be surprised by this trilogy of series. But maybe the order's changed, right? So since April, when 2 of these 3 launched, like they have been the perfect trifecta of comics to me. I've loved all 3 of them. Basically, number 3 is only number 3 because it has had some art issues. The writing on this book is still perfection. It is about the only thing that has had any like DC event crossover this year that was actually awesome, and it had to do it twice. We're talking about Jeremy Adams' The Flash. So Wally West is my favorite character of all time, and he has not been done right since Jeff Johns left the book. It's been miss after miss after miss for me, and I've been longing for someone to get him right, and Jeremy Adams came in and has done him right. And the book is going twice a month. The book is getting this insane arc to kick off this year, and if they can get someone that can draw on it, this would be the perfect superhero comic.
The covers are beautiful.
Oh, yeah. The B covers have been a guy named George
Yeah.
Kamlades or something. They've been fantastic.
I think I see him on Twitter a lot.
But he's not doing the interiors.
I see him on Twitter a lot posting.
Yeah,
covers.
I love that pick, Rod. Like I was saying, that was definitely fighting for a spot on my list. Yeah, I was thinking of dropping it at one point because I was I don't know, maybe like 5 issues behind or something like that. But my LCS lady, Judy, she just said, listen, stick with it, and I'm telling you. And I think I forgot which one of those is where he anyways, there's a moment in one of those, trust me guys, just trust me, where he has a moment with one of the villains, right? And that was like he's explaining to him like, no, we're gonna get you the help you need or whatever. Rod, you might know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that moment there, that sold it for me. I'm like, dude, I'm not dropping this book. I told Judy, I'm not dropping it. You were right.
I can't off the top of my head think of the exact moment you're talking about, but yeah. Adams has had a few moments like that where he understands who Wally is. Wally doesn't punish any of his villains. He sees all of his villains as people he can save. He's kind of I don't want to insult the Spidey fans. I do love me some Spider-Man. He's a less cliche Spider-Man. Like he's in a way, for a guy that can run really fast, he's a more realistic Peter Parker, and I love that about like the way Adams seems to understand how to write that. So yeah, I'm glad you stuck with it, Cody. I'm really glad you stuck with it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think for my I don't want to sound like I'm rushing anyone, but I'm gonna go through mine fast just because I feel like mine have been
That
talked
just means
about
we all
to
have similar
death.
tastes. That's not a bad thing.
Right, right.
Like, no, I have talked about these books so much.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Number 3 is the masterpiece
Mm.
that was Poison Ivy. God, what a book! I mean, that was probably my biggest
Yeah.
surprise of the year. It just blew my mind. If you guys haven't read Poison Ivy by G. Willow Wilson, do yourself a favor. Go pick it up. I don't think Poison Ivy has ever been a one-dimensional villain, but what they do with her in this run is truly out of this world. And yeah, go read it.
The only thing
That's
I'll
my number 3.
add, you said go read it. Go read anything by G. Willow Wilson. She is so underrated. Amazing writer.
Yes.
Christian, dude, I love that pick. I wanted to put that on my list so badly. You have no idea. That would be top 10 for sure, 100%. The biggest surprise of the year. I agree with you there. Didn't expect much going into the Poison Ivy book, and then you open it up and the art punches you in the face. Her writing sends it home. That's a great book.
It made me cry. Yeah, it's such a like emotional
Nice pick,
book. God, it's great. Yeah,
Number
Cody,
two.
go for your number
Nice
2.
House on the Lake. I don't know. Do I need to say anymore? No. So Nice House on the Lake is really great. We talked about it earlier. We said, I wish that one is one I think I disagree with Christian on. First thing I've ever disagreed with him on, by the way. The fact that he thinks he likes the way that it was month to month. I wish I had. I wish I binged this series, because.
No, I agree with you on that. I know none of the characters.
I feel like this
names.
is one that I'm gonna have to read like a second, maybe a third, to really get all that I was supposed to get out of it.
Well, especially if there's like a year delay before season 2 kicks off, I'm definitely going to need to reread as a refresher.
Right, and so that's something you mentioned, Rod.
Yeah,
I don't think this is a spoiler because you could just read it on like a news site or whatever. But it does seem like they're setting up for a 2, and was a little disappointing, I will admit. I think that might have knocked it from 1 to 2, but you're the number 2 book of the year, right? You're still doing just fine.
So I'll actually go the flip of that, and I almost had it replace World's Finest. Because originally it wasn't considering it because it was a mini, but once they announced the season 2, I was like, well, that kind of makes it an ongoing.
Right.
But because there's just a little note at the end of the last
Gotcha.
issue, and we don't have another issue solicited, I figured really it's probably 2 maxi series. So I didn't shuffle my list. I didn't add it. But Nice House on the Lake is amazing. It's Tynion's masterpiece. As much as I love Department of Truth, it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's so heady, and like the concept alone is just totally wild. You're hooked from issue number 1, and the art is fantastic. That's all I'm gonna say about. I'm sure maybe someone else on this panel has it higher, maybe. So that's it from me. But
I was gonna say he's not talking about me. So, we'll see.
Don't pretend
Rod,
like you know
number
me.
2.
Yeah, so if you've been following along, you could make some guesses about it. My last 2 are both X-Men related. They both launched in April or May of this year. My number 2 is Immortal X-Men by Kieran Gillen and mostly Lucas Wernock. Like most Marvel books, they have a lot of fill-in artists, but like the artist of the book is Wernock, and he's amazing. So the premise of this book is the Quiet Council has been the ruling body of the X-Men since they moved to Krakoa. It's basically a government of heroes and villains. It's a council of 12. It is like true Roman oligarchy shit. Like any decisions pass through these 12 individuals, and they were originally handpicked by Xavier, but they've shuffled a few times. And so the book is at the same time it is the main story of the X-Men. So most major events happen in this book. But that's almost ancillary to the bulk of the book, where each one is like a super tight focus on a single member of the council. And it has managed to make people care about characters that otherwise we've never cared about. You've got dudes like Sebastian Shaw, the Black King, who like no one cared about him. And even in Destiny and someone's gonna flame me, but Mystique, I never cared about her until the issues that focused on her and Destiny's relationship. Like the way he can pull out this like ethos for these characters that are both like terrible people and traditionally really boring characters is really amazing. And at the same time, it's got this energy that he's done a few times. He did it with his Eternals run. He did it with what was the Image book he did that was like a pantheon of gods in the modern times? I feel bad I can't think of the name of the comic, but Kieran Gillen, he works great when he works with these all-powerful characters who aren't dealing with their powers. They literally have nothing better to do but do this soap opera stuff, and it is great.
Oh, Wicked and Divine. Right?
Wicked and Divine,
really
yeah, that was
cool.
the one I was thinking of. It has total Wicked and Divine, but for X-Men vibes.
That's
and
really cool, man.
It just barely misses that number 1 slot.
Nice. No, that one's winning all the awards, dude. That one's like piquing my interest the most out of everything that's going on at X-Men.
I was truly shocked how many awards it won. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it won all those
My
awards,
number 2.
and it's here in the color breakies. I had to take a sip of my drink for my last two.
Drinking Coke Zero.
Number
this whole
2,
time, dude.
Number 2, Batman by Chip Zdarsky.
That's great.
It's just a fun book. It's just every issue was just fun. It's just, that's all I have to say about it. I do think it could be a modern classic. I think Failsafe scared
I will tell you
the shit out
the
of me.
second backup arc, the one for the second half of Failsafe, the Zur-En-Arr arc. I don't know off the top of my head who drew it. That was some of the best art all year. I loved the like cartoon art, and that was amazing.
Yes, 100%. Yes. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. All
right,
Cody.
No, listen.
Number 1.
Only thing I'm gonna say is
Maybe.
Christian. I think it's a great pick, dude. I was toying with like a Batman award, and that would have won it. I think that was my favorite Bat. When everything's said and done, when the dust is settled, I think that was my favorite Bat related. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. Number 1, it's got to be Do a Powerbomb, dude. Come on. Who do you think I am, Christian? You're asking me what number 1 is, dude? Come on.
Yeah.
No, sure.
And I mean, I don't even know if we should even explain it. We talked about this
I wanted
book
to jump
like
in, but I will
20
say
times
this is the only one I did a write-up for. So I'll just read this and we'll leave it at that. You guys already know. Read Do a Powerbomb if you aren't already. Lettering is incredible throughout. Twists and turns galore. Very heartfelt. Made me cry. Definitely a work of passion. Oh, dude, I will say too that in issue number 1, he has a letter in the back where he explains kind of the concept behind Do a Powerbomb and his inspiration for it. That alone, I mean, that like hit me in the, you know what I mean, hit me in the feels, just like the little write-up he did. Dynamic artwork, only you know, it's his style for sure, right? Like it's just so much action, so action-packed, but it's just got so much heart. Incredible series, one that I'll be thinking about a lot. Do a Powerbomb, number 1.
That is an amazing pick.
Okay. Cody, before we go to Rod's number 1, can you read us 2 write-ins real quick?
Yep. Okay.
Read them, Cody. Fast.
We have the Broken
right
Record.
now.
My favorite comic read of 2022 was definitely Rogues or Exterminators. Both very fun, and I'm excited to see how Exterminators ends in 2023. Thank you for your write in that Broken Record. The Broken Record.
Thank you, the Broken Record.
You guys need to get him on as a guest,
Cody,
by
read
the
another
way.
one.
I know.
For fun.
My favorite episode of our show, he was the guest on. He's great.
Oh, so actually, you know what? We had
favorite,
we're talking about DC versus vampires earlier. Rome's actually wrote in and said that was his favorite series of the year. No comic has had the heroes on a roller coaster ride. They're at their wits' end. It's compelling. Some emotional stakes going along, and yeah, it's favorite one of the year. And then so I will last one, right?
Okay, that's good. After Rod, we can do the other 2 before mine. Yeah, Rod, go for
so I will
number
say,
1.
Do a Powerbomb would have been on my list had I had a different rule set, because that is a modern masterpiece. Daniel Warren Johnson is like the man of the year.
That's okay.
So I started saying this and then realized I'd spoil. So my number one pick is X-Men Red, by Al Ewing and most issues by Stefano Caselli. It's the single most lyrical superhero comic I've ever read. Al Ewing has this way of making every word feel like you're listening to the greatest rock ballad ever. Like every word that flows off these pages is lyrical and amazing, and it somehow would bounce from insanely over the top stuff. I feel okay spoiling this because it was the big Marvel event of the year. It's been 6 months. So literally Uranos rips out Magneto's heart at one point, and you think that's the big moment of the issue. And at the end of the issue, you see Magneto is alive, holding his chest together with his magnetism and pumping the blood through his arteries. And, but that's not even what makes it great. Like, it goes through those powerful moments. It goes through Magneto getting his revenge and then obviously dying, which again was on the news everywhere. So I don't feel guilty spoiling that. But those moments aren't what make it great. It's these underlying ways that he fits in this dialogue and builds these relationships among the Iraqians, which are the mutants that live on Mars that we've only met a year ago. Most of them, we have no reason to care about them. They're brand new characters, and yet he's got this ethos and meaning to each and every one of them that's just above and beyond. What I started to say before was I went into like year-end award season expecting my answer of X-Men Red to be like the cliche one, the one all of the websites chose. And I do not mind. I think it's great. It's really funny to me that most of them went with Immortal. They are both great books. Really, my top three, I think, are somewhat interchangeable. I guess Flash is a little behind just because of the art. But if you're not reading Immortal and Red, you should. They're both amazing and among the greatest things in comic book ongoing comics, or superhero ongoing comics.
Man, I just love listening to Rod talk about X-Men stuff, dude. He's got such a way with words, huh? Nah, dude, Al Ewing is one of those that I'm sleeping on Al Ewing. I'm just gonna say that. And I will say before Christian does his comment, Loco Monkey wrote in, right? And this all ties back together. I'm very smart. I'm a very intelligent guy. My favorite reader last year was Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing. As someone who took years off of reading comic books and collecting, I found myself going back to my favorite character, the Hulk. The 50-issue run really went into the psychology of Bruce Banner and the Hulk. He loved it. Obviously,
can I keep us tying it together a little?
Go for it.
Christian, you started the show with the question of what's the best Omni we bought in 2023. The best omnibus both of you should buy in 2020. The best one you should buy in 2023 is the Immortal Hulk when it comes out. It comes out this summer, or it's scheduled to come out this summer, so it's going to come out in the fall because Marvel's always behind. But when it comes out, that is the one omnibus that should be mandatory.
100%.
I tell you what, without spoiling anything about any plans we have, I'm committed to buying it. And if Cody is inclined, I will make a video with 100%, Cody,
dude. Because the Hulk is
about this Omni.
Okay.
And not a podcast.
100%, dude. Let's do it.
Video.
I'm excited. That's one that I've been waiting. Until it's all collected in one go.
It's gonna be a fat Omni. I think it's the highest page count they've ever collected in one book, or it's very close if it's not.
Yeah, because 50 issues is kind of weird, right? It's like almost double what a regular Omni would be, but you kind of don't want to split it into two. It's gonna be 25, and those would be too small. It's really weird.
Except then they added the Gamma Flight miniseries, and it's like almost 65 issues total once you tie in all the tie-in issues and stuff. It should have been split in two, but that's okay because it looks gorgeous from what they've shown.
No.
Plus, dude, they can't cancel a volume 2 if they only put out a volume 1. So
that's a good point.
Oh, and sorry, just to listen. This whole thing's a big mess, but Hillbilly Comics wrote in. I just want to get him in, the last write-in. My favorite comic series 2022 has to be The Flash. Something Rod mentioned earlier.
Love Hillbilly.
Yeah, dude, Hillbilly, he killed it with his write-up here. Just talking about the family dynamic, which is something we didn't really get into. But yeah, that might be my favorite family you know what I mean, in comics right now.
I'm working on my wife. I want my twins to be named after his twins, Giant Irie. If I have a boy and a girl, I'm going for it.
Dude, those are good names too, I will say. You know what I mean?
They're not obviously fandom names. Like it's not like naming a kid Hermione. I feel like I might win that fight. We'll see.
Right. You should just tell her. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's not from a comic book. I got that out of a baby name book. No, it's awesome. But yeah, so I wanted to fit in. Thank you to all of our write-ins: Hillbilly Comics, Loco Monkey, The Broken Record, and Rome's Guide. You can find their links in the description down below. All right. Sorry, Christian.
Yeah. Cody, this is for you.
Oh,
For thinking you know me.
okay.
Okay?
I'm
You
scared.
thought you knew me. I wanted to be just big boy.
You're building the
coming
hype
to
up too
town,
much. There's no way
thinking-
this is gonna live up
I
to
know
it.
Okay. Thinking I was gonna pick Nice House on the Lake, and angering me.
Yeah,
Because
because
I didn't
there's
know
no
you
way
were
you did
going.
have Nice House on the Lake, dude.
And I was sitting here thinking, wow, I know my friend better than he knows me, and I did not. Okay. Yes, Nice House on the Lake might be my favorite
Nice, dude.
comic book of the year.
Dude, this is your chance,
I'm
Christian.
not ashamed.
Why do you love it, dude? Get on your soapbox.
I mean,
let us hear
I'll
it.
say this. Truly incredible world building, storytelling, character creation, even though I forgot most of their names. So that's just a time thing. If you ask me right now what's one writer you would like to have on the podcast, it would be James Tynion. That series, if they make that series into a movie, I will shoot someone. Not really, just in case anyone gets shot because this movie. Yeah. Just putting that out there. I don't think it would work as a movie. Maybe a TV show, but still, don't do it. It's perfect as a comic book. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It could go to my favorite series of all time that I've read, Battling with Marvels from 1994. Thank you, James Tynion, for giving me something.
I'm going to
wait
disagree.
for
I
every
think it would make a great like HBO miniseries. I think that giving it to one of those teams, it could kill. But great book.
Well,
I got
this
to
is
step
my
on some
show,
toes. That's
so-
what I do.
No, I'm kidding. I agree. I do think that the
For
only
sure.
people who
It's
could do
gotta
it would be
be
HBO. I
We
will
all agree
admit,
on that for sure.
100%. And I would watch every week, like just sitting in front of the
So
TV.
I
like,
know
oh my
you're
God.
crunched on time.
It's
Can I
coming
go
out.
off on Nice House?
Go
One
for it.
last
Oh, yeah, go
thing.
for it.
Just we've established I read quite a few comics. I was a lit major in college, so like my wife always makes fun of me because I call twists early. I'm always the one that's like, oh, that's gonna happen, and she gets mad. She's like, no, it won't, and then gets mad because it does happen. It's not something to brag about. It's just for whatever reason my mind clicks with like tropes.
No, it's
Yeah,
really
this
annoying, but I do
Nice
it too.
House on the Lake took twists that I was truly legitimately shocked by, and that doesn't happen a lot in that story structure for me. Like, if you've got like, oh, they're trapped in a building, I'm gonna figure
I
out why
will
they're trapped in
say-
a building before they reveal it. Like 90% of the time, I had no idea what was going on until the end.
I'll put this out there, and this is what I'll end the whole thing with this. I mean, we'll say goodbye and thank you. I'll end the whole thing by saying this: if you want to get into comic books and you don't know where to start, and maybe superheroes scare you,
Or do a powerbomb.
pick up Nice House on the Lake. Yeah, or do a powerbomb, honestly, and that's perfect. It's the perfect just entry point into comics. Like, here you go. Because it's sort of like mix. They do a mix of like, it's not just normal comic book panels with speech bubbles, but they do emails, and it's a really cool, inventive comic book, and I think it's the perfect starting point for someone who just wants to get into comic books, and maybe superheroes scare them, not in the fear kind of way.
I have
but
to
in the-
compliment
it's
both
a big
of you.
undertaking.
Both of you gave
Um,
number ones that are really great, both entry points and just examples of the medium, like on their own. I think that was really, really wise of both of you. I picked something that is somewhat inaccessible if you don't have a lot of background, so I went a different route, and I think it's really cool the way you guys went.
No. I'm gonna put this I'm gonna put this out there. I think it's I say this to my girlfriend all the time, and I think it's the coolest, the cutest, the best thing for me to hear, and something that makes me really happy when I hear someone who loves something talk about the thing they love with such like passion. So I will give you that. It could be that you could love erasers, and if you talk about erasers,
Man, erasers that
like
actually
that,
work,
I will be
could go
interested.
off on. I hate cheap erasers.
So, but yeah, that's what I'll end it with. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my top 5.
Nah,
Cody,
dude,
you
I
have
just
anything
listen.
to say?
If
And
you,
of course,
listeners
we'll
and
go to you,
viewers, if
Ron.
you've stuck through this long, I'm sure Christian will fix it all in post. It'll all be coherent, and I didn't mess up and forget to do the write-ins that were sitting on my second monitor this entire time.
I will not cut a
But
single
now,
thing.
listen, this has been the color breakies for the year 2022, but we did it in 2023. We got Christian. We also got Rod. Rod, where can they find you, dude? And do you got any special projects coming up? Anything you want to shout out?
You can follow on ThatNerdyPapaBear on both TikTok and I technically have Instagram and Twitter. I don't update them enough though, so I guess TikTok. And then Araco Public Radio. We recently switched over to the Crossover Comics YouTube channel. We are also on Spotify and all those places. If you have enjoyed hearing me step on their toes and ramble more than I probably should, that's the best place to do it. I do it every week. And it's special projects coming up, not really, but we are doing some stuff to prep for the big X-Men crossover Sins of Sinister that's starting up. We're going to try to do some like intro stuff that will allow it to be a jumping on point, because as we established in our earlier chit chat, there aren't that many good X-Men jump on points, and I think we should make this a jump on point even though it isn't a traditional one. So watch for that, I guess.
Yeah.
If invited,
we will host you
we will go to
anytime.
your show.
No, listen, I'm just going to say, I'll just say this.
No,
I'm not reading any X-Men book, but I love you and Keegan's dynamic. I listen to it. I'm having so much fun going through the backlog of episodes that I missed
100%.
up until this point. I think it's great. Find their stuff in the description down below. You won't regret it, even if you're not reading X-Men. That's all.
That's the real reason we do
Yeah,
it. We're there to banter with each other, and it happens to go out to the audience. So
you had no idea the amount of times you've come with me on
I'm
the drive
honored.
from my
Same,
house.
same
to
with
my
you guys.
girlfriend's house.
I've started going through the backlog, and I love your show. So
Hey. All right. Hey, listen. That was a great
Thank
episode,
you.
Christian. Should we
But
end
yeah,
it right there, dude?
Yeah, let's say goodnight,
Oh, well, I was gonna
Cody,
have the
say
band
a
play
final
us
message.
out. And dim the lights.
Oh
Christian.
yeah, get the band players out.
I was gonna do like a say
Okay.
the wrong name joke, make a
Goodbye, people.